Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pointerize podcast. I am so grateful you have tuned in today. I would love to talk to you about the power of community. Now, I have just gotten out of the very ever first performing artist networking event here in New York City, and it was absolutely magical. And actually, I think that's an understatement to see people coming together to share how their 2020 has been, what their learns were, what are they taking into the new season in their theater, in their art, and what actually are they leaving behind. And I would say that for me, the biggest takeaway was not only the power of people getting together, but that so many people had so many different journeys, and that all of us actually, despite that the pandemic was something bad, have seen so many good things in it, and being able to really lean into the great and not concentrating on the things that didn't work. And I think that was so beautiful for me to see, because not many people are actually able to do so. So I would say that was my biggest, not aha moment, but I just loved hearing about it. But let me share about community a little bit. My journey was actually stepping into different communities and why I was so timid to actually do so. So here's what I've learned. I never really wanted to be part of anything because I thought that I would be actually weaker by being a part of a group or a community. I did not see any kind of advantages for me to be part of that because I was so scared that I would be judged. I was so scared that people would look down on me, that people would tell me what to do and what not to do. And I didn't see it as a resource of courage and a resource of knowledge and power and something to lean onto. You see, there are three different kinds of communities, and I have learned this from Lindsay Swartz, who I have heard talk many times. She is one of the master community builders out there. So she divides communities into three different parts: the community you collaborate with, the community you learn from and you mentor with, and the community that you actually inspire and mentor yourself. So without the first two, you really don't have anything to give further. And we all have, in some way or another, a community that we mentor or inspire, or that look at us. You know, if you're a performing artist, you have a community. They show up in the theater every single time you perform. And in order to be able to fill their cup, you need to be sure that you are tapped into communities that are mentoring you and that you are able to feed off from, and communities that you also are able to collaborate with. When I first started going to networking events, I was scared out of my mind. I didn't see the point. Why should I do this? Why should I feel so uncomfortable? 500 women, oh my goodness, they all just going to hurt me. That was my story. And I learned very quickly. Actually, my mind was changed within 2 days, that the story I had around women and community was untrue. Something I had told myself, something that was lying in me that I assumed or had taken on from other people, that wasn't the truth. It did not feel like that to me at all. These women were so supportive and so kind and helpful that I asked myself, why didn't I become part of a community much earlier on? And I'm not talking about the community that sits together and talks about all the things that are not working and concentrates on the problems. No, it was all about solutions. It was all about tools. It was all about understanding each other's superpowers. And that's what I'm talking about. This is the kind of community that I am craving for. this is the kind of community that I'm really passionate about building. This is what Point to Rise actually really truly was founded on, the core desire to bring people together so that we all have people to lean on and really tap into each other's superpower, understanding that we don't have to know it all. We don't need to do it all by ourselves. And by the way, we are not meant to do it by ourselves. So when we start leaning into our superpowers and understanding that we don't need to know everything ourselves, that's when we open ourselves actually up to know more and experience more. I also truly remember when I first started tapping into a community of mentors, how frightened I was. And I'm not talking about just being scared and, the heart racing a little bit and a little shakiness in my hands. No, I was so nauseous. I thought I'm going to pass out. My body literally did everything possible to prevent me from going into this room that was such a threat, a fake threat, of course, but it meant a threat to my ego, right? Because I've never really done something like that before. Being in a room with mentors and learning from them and asking questions. Oh my gosh, asking questions. Oh my goodness. So that was another step into being together with other people and feeling their energy and understanding how much more powerful we are as a community. And I truly believe as performing artists, and this is not only dancers, I have everything that I've learned really gathered from my experience as a professional ballet dancer. And the more and more I am opening up my own personal boundaries in terms of who I want to serve and who I believe could really benefit from my experience, I see that performing artists altogether are somewhere somewhat in the same boat. And this is why I'm talking about performing artists at this point. The industry is very competitive. We all know this. The industry, kind of promotes the single solopreneur kind of way of living. The truth is, though, that it's not what it needs to be. We all can lock arms and still stand on stage by ourselves. We all can learn from each other and help each other grow and be a great artist, whatever you are doing. Dancers, actors, singers, all alike. So I'm telling you that creating community, being part of a community is so essential to your future success. Understanding that you don't have to do it by yourself. Just understanding that you perhaps struggle just as much as somebody else, that maybe your struggles could inspire somebody else to just continue, that sharing our stories will help us to identify whether or not they're true and do we really have to buy into them, and are they actually helping us to grow, or is it something that holds us back from reaching our dreams? So here are the news. We are going to continue putting on these networking events. We are going to make them bigger and brighter and longer. Planning on the next one here in New York City at the end of August. And I would love, love, love to hear from you, from your city, if that is something that you would be interested in, but Rise Media to hold in your city a networking event. And how can we collaborate and make sure that we have attendees building that kind of a community of performing artists? So reach out to me. You can just DM me under my personal Instagram profile, which is Susanne Rochelle, or you go to the Point to Rise Instagram profile. Either will work, or just send me an email and the link will be in the show notes, saying that that will be something you either want to be part of, you think it is viable in your city that you are in right now to hold an event like that. And I will get in contact with you personally. So thank you so much for listening, guys. I wish you the very best week. make it a great one, and just don't forget to really tap into the power of community.